Fans are wondering if Alexa Bliss just dropped a new mini teaser, so we'll see what that's about. We'll also check out what's new with Paul Heyman, Jey Uso, and more. Starting things off with Alexa Bliss. The drought of Alexa Bliss intel and teasers is definitely at an all-time high right now. There's not much of anything majorly new for Alexa Bliss, but she did post a few pictures that had fans talking. Alexa Bliss recently shared a picture of Jason Baker and herself in Times Square. That picture created some buzz within the Wyatt fandom because everyone knows who Jason Baker is. Jason created the Fiend's mask, a majority of the Firefly Funhouse puppets, Alexa's WrestleMania 37 crown, Cody's WrestleMania 40 mask, and even most recently, he was the one who put the finishing touches together for Alexa's new jacket. So the sight of Alexa and Jason together is exciting because could that mean that they're cooking up some more props and collaborations there between the both of them? That's something that fans are excited about. Alexa's second set of pictures featured a whole new look of her hair being completely straightened out. A lot of fans were also assuming that the pink tips were gone, but they're still very lightly there with this new look. So it's definitely a drought right now where we're going through bits and pieces of Alexa intel, trying to see if there's anything at all there. Hopefully the drought does not continue for that much longer. Reports continue to say that Alexa and the Wyatt Sicks are all healthy and good to go. WWE is reportedly trying to find the right time and place to reintroduce them at. All signs so far point at the right time being well after WrestleMania season has concluded. So it continues to be a waiting game for the Wyatt's universe. Speaking of waiting games, let's get into this fun new solid teaser for the Bloodline. To understand this new teaser, we gotta go back to fall 2023. WWE had loaded up an episode of NXT with major appearances from several top stars. And one of these stars happened to be Paul Heyman, who was there for the night to manage Braun Breaker and work with him. But while Paul Heyman was there at the Performance Center that night for NXT, there was another special person that he paid a visit to, and that was Ava. On this edition of NXT, Paul Heyman was seen speaking to Ava inside of a private room. We didn't get to hear the conversation since that person recording the video was outside the room, but all we saw were the visuals of the conversation through the door window. Paul Heyman was pointing at the Bloodline phone case to Ava, emphasizing it with his finger and speaking to her. Ava had her arms crossed and seemed like she didn't fully trust what Heyman was saying, but she was still giving them a respect of at least hearing him out. Now, at this time, fans thought this was setting up a huge angle for Ava to come over to the Bloodline on the main roster. But here we are now going on 2 years later, and there's been no follow-up to that Ava and Paul Heyman private conversation. One fan recently dug up this Heyman and Ava moment and questioned why nothing was ever done with it and why they were teasing it there. Well, that fan ended up getting a direct response from Ava herself. Ava responded to the old 2023 segment with Paul Heyman by saying, "Patience is a virtue." It may be a forwarded response, but it is a positive one where Ava's keeping hope alive for the future. It's sounding like Ava's saying that the moment with Paul Heyman has not been forgotten about. It was planting extremely early seeds for something coming way down the line, and how fans have to be extremely patient for that payoff that could still be years away. So it was an exciting teaser from Ava. Definitely gives us something to think about and look forward to there in the future. The Bloodline has power and influence on every level of WWE over the last few years, except for one level, and that's the women's division. Sure, other family members like Nia Jax had great success in recent years, but as far as a direct tie to Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman, the Bloodline is yet to feature a woman that's been properly backed up by those two. So is Roman and Heyman banking on Ava being the next generation breakout star for the family and to join them one day? The other interesting part here, especially for when it comes to Ava, is obviously The Rock and where he would fit in, and how he would feel about Roman and Heyman recruiting his daughter. You gotta assume that as her father, maybe The Rock wants to steer Ava down a specific path that he's in control of, especially as a member of the board. Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman can maybe offer Ava some advice and knowledge, but they don't hold the same power and control of the company that The Rock does. So maybe that's some conflict there for Ava. Maybe she has no idea who to side with more, and that creates a whole new story for the Bloodline. So it looks like Ava did not forget whatever it was that Paul Heyman told her that night, and that conversation will be revisited when the time is right. WWE has done something unique with Jey Uso, turning a real-life incident to part of the storyline. A few weeks ago on Raw, Jey Uso tripped on the ropes when diving onto Austin Theory and Grayson Waller outside of the ring. It was a popular clip amongst the fans and even amongst the superstars. Jey reacted himself, saying that everyone messes up sometimes, and vowed to come right back to the same move in the coming weeks. But what WWE ended up doing was taking his real botch and now turning it in part of the storyline for Jey Uso versus Gunther. 1 week after the incident with the ropes, Jey Uso was setting Gunther up for a spear, but Jey tripped while he was running, allowing Gunther to get the upper hand. Unlike the first time, this second tripping incident here was pre-planned and done on purpose. And we get the rest of the story explanation during a backstage moment with Jimmy and Jey, where Jimmy questions Jey on messing up with the dive outside of the ring after he's been doing it perfectly for over 15 years. And Jimmy also brought up the spear trip as well. Jimmy Uso said that this is happening to Jey because his head is not in the game and he's allowing Gunther to get into his mind. So it was a nice little way to implement the outside dive incident into the story, explaining that Jey messed up several times of his signature moves because Gunther has him so off his game mentally. It was a good little side plot for Jey Uso's character. He needs to be locked in and get the moves done right, or else he's leaving WrestleMania empty-handed. That wasn't the only big story involving Jey Uso this week. During the Raw recap show, Jey Uso was also asked about who he would like to see escort him to the ring at WrestleMania 41. Jey Uso has already had several big ring escorts, such as Travis Scott and Lil Wayne. So everyone wants to know, who does he have in mind for this year's WrestleMania? Jey Uso said he specifically envisioned having a female rapper walk him to the ring. Jey listed Cardi B and Sexy Red as his 2 dream picks. And less than a day later, Sexy Red accepted Jey's request and told Jey that she'll be there. So now we gotta see if WWE will go through with it as well, and have Sexy Red walk Jey to the ring. Jey is quietly creating a little WrestleMania tradition here of having these big artists walk him out to the ring. So we'll see if that continues this year. But what are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.